SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, friends, today we are starting with a new unit which is aggregate planning. This is also called aggregate production planning. This is a course on production and operations management, which is very important for all manufacturing and service organizations. As the product variety is increasing, as the competition is increasing, we have to make our production and operation system very efficient, very effective and competitive also. So far we have talked about the basic concepts of production and operations management, is historical development. Then we talked about design of products and services, and along with that selection of the manufacturing processes or service processes. After that we talked about where to locate the facility, that is facility location or plant location, followed by the detailed planning of the facility, that is facility design, where we talk about plant layout as well as line balancing. Now, with these aspects, we can say that my factory is physically in place, or my service system, whether it is a hospital or a restaurant or a banking system, is in place. Now, question arises what to do. I am having a demand from the customer, and then I have to decide how this demand should be fulfilled, how this demand should be planned on the manufacturing or service processes or resources, how the various resources are going to be utilized, which particular product will follow a particular service facility or a production facility. So, all these decisions we have to take now. So, if we look at from the second perspective, the earlier decisions, that is design of the product, selection of the services, location, layout, are by and large strategic decisions, which are long term decisions, where decision once taken is not very easy to change, or the cost of changing the decision is very high. Whereas, this aggregate planning we are talking about, it is one of the aspects of production planning and control. This is more like a intermediate range decision, that this is meant for roughly 1 year to 2 years planning horizon, whereas strategic decisions are having more than 2 years of planning horizon, maybe 5 years, 10 years also in some cases. And then the short term also, we will talk about that in terms of scheduling and sequencing, where the planning horizon will be less than 3 months or like that, or it can be even a weekly plan or monthly plan or quarterly plans. So, in this aggregate production planning, we will try to see that how the capacities which we have created can be matched with the demand coming either through direct orders or based on the forecast. So, that is the agenda for this particular unit on aggregate planning or aggregate production planning. As I said, aggregate planning is one of the aspects of production planning and control. There are many more aspects like scheduling and sequencing, which we will take as a next unit in the continuation. And production planning function is the brain of the organization. All the decision making takes place about the loading of the machines, scheduling of the or routing of the this thing takes place in the production planning. Here also we are trying to see that how the facility should be utilized, how best the facilities can be utilized, how we should plan the production, so that we are able to deliver on time. There should not be any delays in the due dates of the various consignments or various orders which we received from the customer. Also, we have to see that my machine utilization, machine efficiency is also of highest order. There should be minimum waiting time of the jobs in the system. So, these are some of the things which we have to look into in the production planning function. So, this is the brain which give all this kind of planning. There is another aspect which is a control function, planning control function. In the control function, we see that my output, my results, my performance is as per the plan. So, this we can say that they are the eyes and ears of the organization. With the help of various dashboards, we monitor the performance of the system, and based on that we perform the control function. So, effective production planning is the key to successful operations in a production system. If my production planning is faulty, in many organizations you will find lot of inventory, lot of work in process is there. At the same time, lot of raw materials are there, lot of finished goods inventory is also there. At the same time, customer orders are not dispatched, customer orders are also getting delayed. So, that is lack of planning or lack of coordination among the various departments, sections, whether it is a purchase or production or marketing, dispatching, inbound logistics as well as outbound logistics. So, this production planning function help us in coordination, in integration of different aspects of the manufacturing system. Production planning and control is the coordination of a series of activities, as I said, coordination, integration of a series of activities right from the purchase of raw material till the material reaches to the customer or at least dispatched from the factory according to a plan which will economically utilize the facilities. Economically utilize the facility means utilization of the machine should be good, efficiency, machine efficiency should be good, resources should not be idle. So, economically utilizing the facilities and the resources of factory, resources are machine, equipment, manpower, etc. Regulate the smooth and seamless flow of all materials from the procurement of raw material to the dispatching of the finished good. So, we are talking about right from the when the material enter into our factory till the material leave the factory, all the aspects we would like to coordinate for better utilization of the resources, timely delivery of the orders to the customer. Objectives, if we see the objectives of production planning and control, obviously to prepare the schedules to meet the delivery requirements. We prepare the production schedules so that delivery schedules are met to achieve the lowest overall cost of meeting the desired production, very important objective, because if we say that in the competitive environment we have to produce the products and services at a competitive price along with obviously a good quality products and deliver them to the customer at a time and place according to their requirements. So, in that achieving overall lowest cost is one of the very important objective, also a very important criteria for customer satisfaction and the survival of the organization. To produce the right type of products in right quantities at the right time. So, we have to see that I am producing the right type of product, the one which is demanded by the customers or where we are having orders from the customer or this is based on the forecast and in right quantities. If the quantities are more, that will lead to inventory surpluses. If the inventory are if the materials quantities are less, that means you are not able to dispatch the full order, and that may lead to multiple dispatches or more number of more transportation. To maintain optimal levels which are not too high as well as not too low of the raw material and finished goods. Material requirement planning is also one of the very important aspects of production planning and control. We have to see that materials are procured as per the production plan. They should not be procured too early or too late or in less quantities or more quantities. So, in both ways the quantity purchase should be as per the requirement, the timing of the purchase should also be as per the requirement as per our production plan. To coordinate the various departments of the organization and the units of the production processes, coordination among all the departments, so that there should be a seamless flow of the material from the beginning to the end. To ensure the effective utilization of the production resources, if the production planning is faulty, we may find that sometime a machine is waiting for the jobs or other places the jobs are waiting for the machine to be ready. So, it is a perfect coordination if there is the moment a job leaves workstation A and ready to go to the workstation B should be available, it should have just got itself free from the previous as a previous job. So, that kind of coordination is required. The moment job is available to be processed on a particular machine, the machine should also be available to process that, and the machine, when the machine is free to from the previous job, the next job should be available to it. So, that is the kind of a coordination is required between the processes, and that will lead to the effective utilization and also lead to the minimum waiting time of the jobs also. And also we have to create the and maintain the flexibility of the resources operation to meet the variations in the requirements of supply. It is a production planning which will help us in meeting the in getting the production system adaptable to the changing requirements, whether from the customer side or from the supply side, or there may be some inherent variations also due to less number of persons reported, or there may be any other reasons also. So, planning helps in creating the flexibility in the system and to maintain the production, employment and inventory at a relatively stable level. That is also important. If every day the demand, though the demand is fluctuating, so we have to see that my production level and employment level are at a constant level, at a stable level. If there is too much fluctuation in the production level, that means I have to keep on hiring and firing my manpower, and it is very expensive in terms of money also, as well as it will leave a bad reputation of as a employer. If you are hiring and firing too frequently, that is not a good reputation as a employer, and you may not get a good quality manpower or human resource for your activities. As I said, 3 levels of planning: long range plans, where we are talking about design of the products, design of the services, selection of the technology, etc., and long term capacities, and location and layout of the factory. Then there are intermediate plan, which we are talking about here, that is employment, how many manpower I should keep, how much I should get from the outside vendors, vendor development, also part of the intermediate plan. Depending upon the production projections of the demand, I should create capacities in the form of subcontracting, in the form of additional employment, and also have to develop the plans how much I am going to produce. There may be a case the demand is much more, I may not be able to produce all that. So, I have to decide how much output I am going to have, or if also in the lean period also I may decide that okay, item is seasonal, I may produce something in the off season and then ramp up my production during the season. So, I have to decide about how much output I am going to take in different periods of the planning. And then we will talk about as a next unit, that is on scheduling and sequencing the loading of the machine, which particular job is going to be processed on a particular resource or a machine, and assignments of the job. So, that is the short range plans. So, in production planning and control, we are having long range plans, intermediate plans and short range plans. So, friends, in long term we are more talking about capacity planning, and in the medium range this particular unit is meant for aggregate planning. And then we will develop a master production schedule, where period wise weekly plan, or we will develop as a master production schedule for specific product model. Why we call it aggregate planning? Because this is meant for a product family. We are not talking about individual level, product level or model level. Here we are talking more in a aggregate form. If you are producing like a car manufacturing company, they may be producing maybe 10 or 20 different type of models. So, here we are talking about all these models taken together, how much production I have to produce in the different quarters or different periods of the planning. So, that is why it is called aggregate planning. We are more talking about a aggregate level rather than at a unit level or a product level or a SKU level. And then based on the master production schedule, I have to arrange my manufacturing facilities, I have also arranged the material. So, this is resource planning required to make specific product models. For a particular model, how much labor is required, material is required, equipment and utilities etc., are required. So, that I am going to plan as a resource planning stage. Further, after doing the resource planning, for a short range planning, for a day to day planning, we can have 3 systems which are very popular in production planning. One is called push system, which is based on the generally based on the forecast, best for the job shop kind of a system, where jobs are entered into the system and we keep our facilities ready. This is more like a process layout, MRP based on the forecast. We can keep our manufacturing system as per the forecast. Then there is a pull system, which is best for the repetitive manufacturing, where orders are frequent and based on the actual orders on a JIT basis, just in time manufacturing basis, we can produce the items. Then there is another technique which is called theory of constraints, very popular concept, theory of constraint. Here we see that which is my bottleneck, what is my bottleneck in the system, and I do the planning for the bottleneck stage. If the bottleneck stage is planned well, all other stages will automatically take care of it, because they are having capacity more than the bottleneck stage. So, we give a priority to the bottleneck stage. We see that my bottleneck stage is fully utilized and whole of the planning focus and we subordinate the other decisions after that. So, major decision, main decision is taken about the bottleneck stage, that is called theory of constraints, the stage which is constrained because of the capacity. Other stages are having capacity more than the bottleneck stage. Generally, when we talk about the planning, it starts with the forecasting or maybe actual orders. In case of actual order, actually very less planning is required. You have to process those orders, and we know that what is their demand date, due date, and based on that we process these orders. But there are in every organization both types of demand is coming through the forecasting, through the marketing department, by the forecasting channels also, and the actual orders also, and together we have to see that how to fulfill that. In the previous slide we were talking about push and pull also. There is no organization which is 100% pull. If we say that this is my supplier side and this is my customer side, maybe up to a certain point I am producing based on the forecast, that is a push system based on the forecast, and actual, that is assembly or actual differentiation, can be done based on the actual order, based on the actual order. So, this point we can call it as a point of differentiation, also, and this is also a point that we call it push pull boundary. This is also called push pull boundary. So, in production planning and control, we see that up to what stage I have to prepare the master production schedule, and after that it can be done with the help of actual orders. And then the unit which we are talking about here, that is master production scheduling. We have to see that master production schedule, where we total demand in different periods are schedule has been prepared in this case. Then based on the schedule, we will do the material requirement planning. We will take the decisions that when to place the order, and how much quantity to order. So, very important decisions in materials management, material purchasing. In inventory models also, if you recollect, we were trying to answer the two questions, that is how much to order and when to order. Once this material is available and my production plan is there, then I have to do the order scheduling, and then after along with that two actions are required based on the master production schedule. Based on the master production schedule, two actions are required. One is issue of the purchase order, and issue of the work orders. Work orders for in-house production, purchase order for bought out parts or purchased material. Okay. And for this we will use the material requirement planning based on the lead time and bill of material also. We will talk about in this unit itself about the material requirement planning also, MRP. There is another also we will talk about MRP 2 also, which is called manufacturing resource planning, which is called manufacturing resource planning. Okay. So, this is all in nutshell about the planning, means what are the aspects which are attached with the production planning in a company. So, what are the main factors which influence the production planning and control? It is a type of production system, very important. Generally for batch production system and job shop production system, batch production system and job shop production system, the production planning is very, very important. Job shop system, the production planning is very, very important. For mass production also it is required, but the significance is very less. Then the size of the plant. If the plant has more number of stations, the process is very long, or then in that case the production planning will be more stringent, more coordination is required between the various stages of the production process. So, bigger the size of the plant, more important is production planning and control, more important, more significant is production planning and control. Number of production facilities of the company. If it is a single facility, then it is less difficult or less important. Whereas, if there are number of production facilities are there which are producing similar kind of a products, then we have to decide whether I should go for a centralized PPC or decentralized production planning and control. So, very important, we have to decide, both are having their own pros and cons also. So, we have to decide if there are and also we have to see that which production facility is going to produce which particular end product and which particular market it is going to serve. Then the type of the industry also, there are both types of industries. One is where we are having few input component and large variety. Inputs are very less in number, but output is very large in variety, just like textile companies producing yarn and fabric. The input materials are very less, but variety of the fabric is very large. On the other hand, there are other types of manufacturing system where the input components are very large, but output variety is comparatively less, like in automobile. Maybe more than 2000, 3000 components and parts and sub assemblies are required to produce a car, and we may be producing 50 to 100 different types of models, 50 to 100 different type of models we are producing. So, that is the type of the industry where in both the cases the implications are more. In case of first type of company, we have to see that whatsoever you are producing is as per the requirement of the customer. So, more important is batches, how to produce the batches and other thing, whereas in this case the more important is managing of the raw material and components parts according to the demand of the various models in the system. Friends, next important factor is condition of the economy. In a booming economy, we can keep little bit extra production also, or we can keep margins also, but if there is a recession or economy is not very strong, we have to very see that my production system is very efficient. There should not be any increase in the cost anywhere in the system. So, I have to be very careful in procurement of the material, utilization of my resources and other things, so that my cost of production is very less, and I am able to maintain my margins, I am able to maintain my profit. In case of booming, where the demand is more and is increasing, there the main focus is that I should keep the supply available according to the increase in demand. Nature of the competition is also having the same significance. If the competition is very high, I need to be careful in my planning on both the fronts, that is cost as well as delivery. If my cost is high, I will not be able to compete. If I am not able to deliver at the right time, then also I am not able to meet the competition. Expectation and behavior of the customer is also important. In certain products and category, customer is ready to wait, in other cases he may not be ready to wait. So, in that case we have to see that, and variety also plays a very important role. If a customer is looking for a variety and something new innovations, in that case our production planning system become even more challenging. If new products are being launched or your catalog is changing very fast, in that case the function of production planning is very challenging. How to see that my production planning function is efficiently done? Obviously, the most important parameter which we have to consider is delivery schedule adherence. That at any cost in a competitive environment, we have to ensure that my delivery schedules are adhered without any problem, without any difficulty. That should be the foremost priority in the production planning and control. I should plan my production according to the delivery schedules committed to the customers. Then obviously, after having that is more related to customer, then I have to see my internal also, that my internal resources etcetera are adequately and efficiently utilized, so that my cost of production is not high. And or to maintain the continuity of the production, I have to ensure that. For that, very important parameter is inventory turnover ratio of the finished products. I have to see that my finished products are though I should meet the delivery adherence, at the same time I want that I should make the finished products only when it need to be delivered, dispatched. So, there I will see that what is my annual sale and what is my average finished goods inventory. So, this ratio, if there is a ratio is very high, let us say 12, that means your inventory turns are 12. So, 12 times you are able to convert your raw material, your finished goods into dispatches. So, a good thing. On the other hand, if my inventory turn only 2, that means I am keeping 6 months of finished goods. If my inventory turn is 2, I am keeping 6 months of finished goods, whereas if my inventory turn is 12, that means I am keeping only 1 month of finished goods. And if this turnover is even high, in some cases if it is 24 for example sake, that I am keeping only 2 weeks of finished goods. And automobile companies etcetera, in many cases even same the whatsoever you are producing, the same day it is dispatched. So, hardly there is a finished goods inventory or 1 day or 2 days at most. In automobile, finished goods inventory is very less. Every day dispatches are made and not much is kept, finished goods are not kept in stock at the factory. Then we have to see that inventory turn ratio of the raw materials, very important, equally important that also of the raw materials. In automobile companies etcetera, the raw material inventory is very large if it is not efficiently managed. There we have to see that annual consumption divided by average raw material inventory, and same way if this number is very high, that means my raw material inventories are less of 1 month only, raw material inventory of 1 month only. On the other hand, if this number is small, that means I am having 6 months inventory. So, I have to see that. On the other hand, here also there are certain items which are procured even 4 times in a shift. Every 2-hour deliveries are coming. If the item is such that which is having a nearby supplier or where the item is self certified. So, rather than going to the warehouse, item is directly coming to the point of usage. But obviously, at the same time the steel sheets and other components etcetera, they are purchased in large quantities, tires etcetera are purchased because their vendors are at a far over place, or maybe some imported components also coming from other countries. So, in that case the raw material inventory increases. Out of stock index, this is a surrogate of schedule adherence also. Number of times stock out, how many times you are not able to meet the customer's requirement, and if let us say in a year you have received 1000 orders, and out of 1000 orders 10 orders you are not able to meet from the stocks. So, 10 by 1000 into 100 is the my stock out, that means 1% time I am not able to meet the deliveries from the stock. This is especially useful for make to stock kind of situations where you are producing according to the forecast in. Then there is a spare part index also. Every organization has to keep the spare parts to keep their capital equipment running, to take care of the maintenance, overhaul and regular upkeep of the equipment. So, there we have to see that how much spare part inventory you are keeping vis-a-vis the value of the capital goods. So, if you are keeping too much of a spare part inventory, that will increase your cost, and also there is with respect to spare parts very important parameter is cost of obsolescence also. If the machine life is over and you are not able to use that particular spare part, that spare part you have to sell at the by weight only. So, that is very important in case of spare part, you should be keeping only the limited amount of spare parts, but at the same time the machine should not stop because of a non availability of spare parts. There is a breakdown and you do not have a spare part, the downtime will be much more and very expensive also. And another two important parameters are my machine utilization and resource utilization. Production planning and control play very important role to see that machines are fully loaded, fully utilized, all resources, human resource, machine, equipment are fully utilized. Now, friends, with this brief background about the production planning and control, now we are talking about the one aspect of production planning and control, that is aggregate planning. Aggregate planning develops, as I said, medium range production. When we say long range, we are talking about product design, process design, location, layout. So, in the medium range, and if we are talking about the short range, it is more scheduling and sequencing. Short range is scheduling and sequencing. And sequence. So, aggregate planning is a medium range affair, where we are talking about roughly you can say that 3 months to 2 years, that is 1 quarter to 8 quarters or 1 quarter to 6 quarters, or in some books we say that 12 to 18 months also. So, where you are doing a planning for 1 year to 1.5 year, 1 year to 2 years. In management there is means nothing much is fixed, it is more indicative that depending upon your requirement, depending on your products, and you can decide, and depending upon the your production processes. If it is very easy to change the production facilities, maybe you are doing a short range planning. If it is difficult to change, hire and fire or increase or decrease the capacity, then you have to take a planning period of 12 months, 18 months or 2 years. On the other hand, if you can do very easily with the help of contractual labor or outsourcing etcetera, maybe 3 months planning can be done. So, it is in between the strategic and operational decisions. So, we have given a forecast, what is the best way to plan the production requirement. So, we are having the demand and we have to see that how to develop the production plans. Aggregate means putting together unit as a whole group. Maybe full factory is taken as a one group, where you are producing different types of products, different models etcetera. We will talk about multi models also, different type of items. If you are manufacturing, then how to take care of that in our production planning. And detailed planning can be done at a later stage, in a short range planning decision. And then we have to determine the quantity and timing of the production for the immediate future. Aggregate plans impose constraints on the short range production plan. So, whatever we decide in aggregate plan, that we have to achieve in our short range production processes. So, the outcome of this is master production schedule and master production schedule, and this become the input, the outcome of the aggregate plan becomes the input for the short range production planning, that is scheduling and sequencing. Aggregate planning is important in production management as it provides full utilization of the facilities with minimum overloading and underloading. Both are bad. One thing we have to keep in mind, there is a regular time production cost, which is the least. If you are producing at a stable production rate using the normal production facilities, the cost per unit will be minimum. Whenever you go for overtime, that is by overloading, or undertime, that is by underloading, the cost per unit will increase, or whether you go for subcontracting also, the cost per unit will increase, or hiring and firing also increase the cost of production. So, the best thing is how far I should be able to develop my facilities as a regular time production, so that my cost per unit is minimum. Adequate production capacity, to develop the adequate production capacity to meet the aggregate demand. So, I have to develop my own production capacity, and then anything over and above, anything deviating from that, I can get it fulfilled by overtime, undertime and subcontracting. A plan for orderly and systematically change of production capacity to meet the variation in demand. If there is a change in the demand from one quarter to another, let us say in the quarter of January to March, the demand was let us say 500 units per week, and in April to June quarter, you are anticipating demand of 700 units per week. Then how to ramp up, how to change the production capacity, so that and that should be done in a orderly and systematically manner. So, you should plan in advance that in April I have to increase my production capacities. You take the adequate measures maybe 1 month or 2 months in advance, and same thing is true for if there is a reduction in the demand also. So, I have to see that I should be able to systematically change my production capacity by using subcontracting, overtime, or can be by hiring more employees and so on. We will talk about that. Getting maximum output from the available, resources, that is also one of the important aspect of aggregate planning. The objectives in aggregate production planning, obviously the first and foremost is how to produce the given demand at a minimum cost. So, minimize cost is one of the most important objective, and the highest level objective in aggregate production planning is minimize cost. In certain cases where we feel that the demand is much more than my capacities, and if I am trying to fulfill the whole of the demand, the cost per unit will increase, and rather than increasing my profits, the profit may shrink also. It is something like this, and demand and profits or production. Demand is much more than the production. So, as you increase the production, your profit will increase, but there is a point, if you increase the production beyond that, the profit may decrease, because your cost of production increases much more than the and it may start eating out your profits also. So, I have to ensure that I should not produce more than this. So, this is the point which leads to the maximize profits, and then maybe maximize customer service also. You are not talking in that case, but you feel that your customers are very prime to you. So, you may say that okay, I am not bothered about maximize profit, I am more interested in customer services. Profit will come in my subsequent years also, but if I lose my customers here, they will not come back, they will go to the competition. So, I will more interested in maximizing customer services rather than minimizing cost or maximizing profit. Then there can be minimized inventory investments also, the funds investment, lot of money get blocked in work in process inventories, whether it is a raw material inventory or work in process or finished goods inventory. So, you may plan that we will talk about change strategy for that. If my objective is minimize inventory investment, I will follow the change strategy of aggregate planning. Then minimize changes in the production rate. You may say that I want to produce at a stable production rate, I want to keep the stable manpower also. So, in that context also we can work out for a stable production rate, stable work force level also, and there may be a case of maximize utilization of plant and equipment. So, these are some of the objectives. You can design a single objective production plan, and we can also have a multi objective production planning also, multi objective production planning also we can have. But here in this particular course we will more talk about single objective only, and that too more focused on minimize cost. But lot of research and lot of research papers are available on different production planning. I can adopt the goal programming also, where I say that my main goal is minimize cost and my sub level goals are maximize profits and minimize changes in the production rate also. To some extent we will also talk about here also hybrid policies, where we will talk about combination of 2-3 objectives together, hybrid policy, where we will talk about more than one objective together. Friends, two types of strategies can be there if that your demand is fluctuating too much. If the demand is fluctuating, if it is a time versus demand, if your period to period fluctuations are there, we can do two things. One is the first priority should be proactiveness. That means, I should do something. If the demand is more here and demand is less here, I can give some discounts or some offers or some schemes here. So, that rather than it that demand scenario is like this, it may change to something less. My peaks and valleys are reduced, and so that I can produce the constant production rate. Constant is something like this. So, closer to, you will see that red color is having more variation from the stable production rate, blue color is having less variation. So, first my task is to smoothen the demand by having the proactive strategies, where I can change the price, differential prices, I can have off season discounts and smart pricing also. You might have seen that for refrigerator, air conditioners, companies give off season discount both the sides in the month of February, March also they give off season discount, so that the peak load is reduced. Also after the end of the season also in October, November also they give off season discounts, or it can be smart pricing also, so that you can have the constant stable demand rate and the good utilization of your facilities throughout the year. Especially in service sector, we are finding whether it is a airline booking, hotel booking, etc. Services, the smart pricing play a very important role in full utilization of the capacity, and that too where the capacities are perishable in nature. Every day the flights are running, if certain seats are vacant, there is a loss of revenue, and where the cost of operating the flight is independent to the number of passengers traveling. Then there is the reactive strategies. After doing the proactive, then I have to see that whatsoever unevenness is there, how to handle that, how to plan for that. I can use the inventories and backlogs to absorb the changes in the demand. I may say that okay, in this period, let me redraw this. I will keep on at a constant production rate, and in this period let there be a shortage, let there be a customer to wait, and in this period this shortage will be fulfilled for the additional production which I am having here when the demand is less. So, like this. So, that so I will produce on based on the average demand, and if the demand is more than the average, people will wait, customer will wait, and when the demand is less than that, that backlog will be covered. It is a good strategy if you are having a monopoly in the item or there is less substitution available. Then there can be varying workforce size to change the production rate. You may say that no, I will produce whatsoever is the demand, my production rate will match to the demand rate. I will keep on changing my production rate to meet the demand. So, my production rate is same as the demand rate. I will not allow any shortages in the, or I will also not build any inventory. I can use the part timers, overtime, idle time to increase the or decrease the production, or I can take the help of subcontractors, vendors, outsourcing also to meet the additional demand. Coming to the proactive strategies in detail, I can influence the demand by using the advertising or promotion to increase the demand during the low periods. I can go for promotional schemes also, or maybe more rigorous advertising also, so that I can increase the demand during the low periods, or I can try to shift the demand to slow periods, so that my high period demand is reduced and there is a even out. May not be sufficient to balance demand and capacity, but it is not always possible to match the demand and capacity. Still there is going to be some imbalance in the system, but this definitely it will reduce the peaks and valleys. Second important thing which I can do is back ordering during high demand period. I can ask the customers to wait for an order without loss of goodwill or the orders. Most effective when there are few, if any, substitute for the products or services, but definitely it results in lost sale. Or I can keep my counter seasonal products and service mixing, like if I am producing certain things which are required in a summer season, I can have like air conditioner, I can have counter seasonal like room heaters or some other items I can manufacture from the same factory. So, that the two items together which are having like this, if this is a demand pattern for the, let us say, for air conditioners which is required in summer, and then I am having another item, that is room heaters or something which is having a opposite to this. So, together if I see that I am having a total demand which is sum of the two together. So, I can keep on working at a constant production rate. The two product together throughout the year, my both the facilities are fully utilized, all my facilities are fully utilized. So, I can have a mix of counter seasonal item, or but it has a risk that you may go outside your own core competency area. You may not have a competency to produce room heater, you are good in air conditioners only, or you do not have the patent or technology for that. So, that is one of the aspect which we have to look into when we are talking about counter seasonal items. Then we can go for the reactive strategies, that is a level strategy. You produce at a constant production rate, maintaining a steady rate of regular time output while meeting the variation in the demand by combination of options. It can be inventory, backlog, subcontracting, etc., but you are producing at a constant regular time output. The opposite to this is change strategy, where we are trying to match the capacity of to demand. Whatsoever the demand, I enhance my capacities, I change my capacities also to meet the demand. So, the planned output for a period is expected demand of that period. So, my planned output is same as the expected demand. So, in that case I am not keeping any inventories or backlogs, I am increasing or decreasing my production rates. Or there can be mixed strategy, combination of level and change. Most of the times in real life we are more like a mixed strategy. Certain demand we try to meet by increasing the capacities, certain other portion of the demand we try to fulfill by from the inventory or by subcontracting. Graphically we can see that this is a level production case, where you are producing, production is at a constant rate shown with a dotted line, and your demand is fluctuating. So, whatsoever inventory you are built up here when the demand was less, that inventory is going to be utilized in this particular period. So, this is time versus number of units produced or number of units demanded graph. So, you produce extra though the demand was less than the production rate, but you keep on producing at a constant production rate. So, whatsoever additional we have produced here, that is utilized here, and same way whatsoever additional I have produced here, that is going to be utilized here. So, like this. So, these are the periods of building the inventory, and this is the period of utilizing that inventory to meet the higher demand. Similarly, just like if we look at the air conditioners. So, this is our summer season, this is our peak of the summer when the demand is very high, and this is the period of winter when the demand was very less. So, but I keep on producing that also. So, that whatsoever extra I am built up, I can utilize it during the peak period. So, like this. So, that is a level production case, but obviously it has a risk that number one, lot of inventory carrying cost, lot of money get trapped in that, and then if there is a not that severe summer is there, you may have left with the unsold items also. This is the change strategy, where we are this is blue color is my demand and dotted color is my production. My production rate is always same as the demand rate. I am trying to match my production with the demand. So, that is a change strategy by increasing and decreasing the manpower. Then there is a mixed strategy, where certain part of the demand fluctuation I am trying to absorb with the help of increasing and decreasing the production, but the other part I am taking care of the inventories. I am like there here. Now, this much is the this is my production. So, this is the inventory which has been built up here in the system, and this is the period where you are having the shortage. Your demand is more than the production. This is the period where demand is more than the production. So, there is some kind of backlog. If this inventory is not there, maybe you have to have the backlog of the sales and meet the demand from this inventory or increase the production rate, and like that you have to meet that demand. And this is the case where demand is what we are finding is demand is less than the production rate. So, inventories are built up. Inventory is equal to production minus demand. Inventory is equal to whatsoever you are producing minus the demand, that is your inventory built up in the system. So, in the level production strategies, we are changing the inventory level, that is one of the aspect, one of the approach which we can follow. Increase inventory in low demand period to meet the high demand in the future. Increase cost associated with storage, insurance, handling, obsolescence and capital invest. So, it increase the cost, all aspects of inventory carrying cost which we have discussed in our unit of inventory management, that is there. There is a increased storage, increased insurance, handling, cost of capital also roughly 8 to 10% in India is the cost of capital itself. Bank rate of interest. Shortages can mean lost sale due to long lead times and poor customer service. In the change strategy, I am varying the workforce size by hiring or layoff, match production rate to the demand. Training and separation cost is very important cost in this. If you are hiring the manpower, you have to go for the training of them. If there is a layoff, you have to pay the compensation, golden handshake, you have to pay them salary also as per the agreement for the period when he is even not working for you. So, you have to pay certain months of salary also. So, expensive. New worker may have lower productivity also, they will take time to get absorbed in our system. Laying off worker may also lower the morale and productivity of the existing workers also. They may feel that tomorrow we may also get layoff notice or pink slip, which is very popularly used in industry. I can change the production rate through overtime or idle time, allow the constant workforce, may be difficult to meet the large increase in demand. Like we are saying, if there is a substantial increase in demand, may not be possible with the constant workforce, you cannot build that much inventories. Overtime can be costly and may drive down the productivity, absorbing idle time. If the demand is less, you have to absorb the idle time of the worker, that is also expensive and difficult. One important option which is available is use contractual manpower or part time workers also for, but that is only useful for unskilled and low skilled positions only. You can hire more manpower through the contractors, or we call it contractual manpower. You can keep certain percentage. So, that size you can keep on increasing or decreasing depending upon your demand requirements. In the change strategy, subcontracting option is also there, temporary measure during periods of peak demand, but it is costly. Assuring quality and timely delivery may be difficult because of additional liaising with the subcontractor, but and as well as you are exposing your customer to the possible competitor also. At present he is your subcontractor, but tomorrow he may launch his own product and compete you in the market. Friends, after having an idea about what are the various options available with us, let us see now, though you are getting idea about the various types of cost which we have to consider in aggregate planning. One is obviously the regular time cost. If I am producing at a constant production rate using my own resources, manpower at a regular production rate, that is called regular time cost. And then if you are following a level production strategy, inventories are getting built up. So, you have to consider the inventory carrying cost, inventory holding cost. And in the same manner, if your demand is more and you are following the level production strategy, there may be back orders or stock outs. So, we have to keep that particular cost also. We will do some illustrations also using various methods of aggregate planning, by which we will try to understand this cost, and we will see that how the various strategies can be compared with the help of some illustration, some examples. Then there is a cost of related to hiring and layoff. Hiring cost is related to training, hiring cost is related to training of the manpower, training of the worker, and layoff cost is you have to pay some kind of a compensation. And induction program, all type of induction, training, etcetera. And along with that the hiring cost also, advertising, conducting interviews, etcetera, is also very important cost in hiring. Then there is a overtime cost. We know that the if you are holding the worker during overtime, the hourly wages are generally double of the normal wages. If the normal cost is 200 rupees per hour of a worker, the overtime cost is usually 400 rupees per hour, and many times the productivity is also less during the overtime. Subcontracting cost also, if your own cost of production is let us say rupees 20 per unit, and if you are getting it through a subcontractor, the cost may be rupees 25 or more than 20 per unit. The subcontracting cost is usually higher than the regular time production cost. Various inputs which are required for aggregate planning are demand forecast, obviously, then customer needs also, actual orders, competition behavior. If there is a too severe competition, I cannot afford to have shortages and backlog. Then the production capacity, how much I am having my regular time capacity and workforce and facilities. And then the cost of various options which we have just discussed now. What is the cost of carrying inventory, overtime, hiring, firing, back orders and subcontracting. Also I have to see that if I want to follow a change strategy, whether I am having the sufficient, though I can increase my production capacity, but whether my suppliers have the capability to provide that, or whether I have the storage capacity to keep the materials in stock. Then also if I want to increase or decrease my production rate in change strategy, I have to see that what is the condition of the labor market, whether adequate manpower is available or not, and whether you have the capacities with you for training and skilling of the recruits or which you have hired more manpower. So, whether you have the capacity to train them. Then I will to see that whether I have the sufficient funds, if I have decided to keep inventory, whether working capital is required, whether I have the funds to maintain that inventory. And then I will to see that company policies also, subcontracting, whether company has a policies for subcontracting or not, if you are having a patent or design secret or something, or you do not want to expose your customers to the competition. So, may not be going for overtime also, certain companies do not allow the overtime also, because they feel that this is inhuman to allow the workers to work for beyond a certain duty hours, and then also see that whether company has a policy about inventories or not. So, these are some of the inputs, and then coming to the output, we have to see that the total cost of the plan, and also we are going to see with the help of illustration what is my projected level of inventory, projected level of outputs, how many manpower I am going to keep, how many units I am going to getting through subcontracting, and how much back ordering I am allowing. So, friends, this is a basic idea about aggregate planning. There we have seen that why we are doing the aggregate planning, at what stage production planning is required. This is a medium range planning decision, and also we have seen that the various cost parameters which need to be considered, and the various strategy options which we are having. Now, in the next session we will talk about, we will take some illustrations to explain the with the help of some numerical examples, with the help of some cases, we will try to integrate them together, and we will understand with the help of illustrations. So, thank you very much. With closing this session here. Thank you.